You're so funny. Okay, so this is The Way to Happiness. This is the United Nations International Day of Happiness, March 20th, but this is a special copy. This is number 4 in the series, Spreading Happiness Around the World. Karina, how are you? All right, so we're going to do precept number 4, but before we do, I really want to kind of introduce again the Way to Happiness book. And
hi, everybody.
And this is Fume. Yes, I know the best. Hey, Anna, this is the best part of me. Rujana, Almira, look at Geraldo. So why we want to share this with you is right here in the front of the book. It says, why I gave you this book is your survival is important to me and to Fume. So
and me.
Your survival is important to us. Hey, Pat. All right, so we always go over this first. What is happiness? Well, the definition of happiness is a condition or state of well-being, contentment, and pleasure. It's also joyful, cheerful, and
untroubled
existence.
You want me to read?
Yeah. The reaction to having nice things happen to one. That's happiness. So true joy and happiness are valuable. If one does not survive, no joy and no happiness are obtainable. Common sense. That's why this is called the Common Sense Guide. Trying to survive in a chaotic, dishonest, and generally immoral society is difficult. Any individual or group seeks to obtain from life what pleasure and freedom from pain that they can. Your own survival can be threatened by the bad actions of others around you. Your own happiness can be turned to tragedy and sorrow by the dishonesty and misconduct of others. I'm sure you can think of instances of this actually happening. Such wrongs reduce one's survival and impair one's happiness. You are important to other people. You are listened to. You can influence others. The happiness or unhappiness of others you could name is important to you. Without too much trouble using this book, you can help them survive and lead happier lives. While no one can guarantee that anyone else can be happy, their chances of survival and happiness can be improved, and with theirs, yours will be. It is in your power to point the way to a less dangerous and happier life. So we just want to point the way to a happier life to all of our friends. And hey, Ran. And there's 21 precepts, 21 rules for happy living. And we're doing one a day, although we missed yesterday.
Yeah, we did. It was my fault.
We might have to do 2 tomorrow. I don't know. So number 4. So number 1 was take care of yourself. Number 2 is be temperate. That means don't take harmful drugs and don't drink too much alcohol. Number 3 is don't be promiscuous. So be faithful to your loved ones. And number 4, love and help children.
One of my favorites.
This is definitely one of our favorites. So before I read it, we just want to talk about the fact that we have 2 children. We have 2 children. We are children of other people, but we have 2 children. 2 boys, Seamus and Connor.
Cute.
You talked about your boy?
No, they're really smart. They're so different. You know, it's kind of like when you have kids, you think...
You look at them, I'm looking at you.
I know. When you have kids, you think, you know, they're all going to be the same and their personality is going to be the same, but they're so different. And you really have to make sure that they really feel like they belong, right? Because children, I can feel you staring at me. No, seriously, because like, you know, sometimes you get so frustrated or, you know, like, things happen and you get mad at your kids, and I've really made a practice of every time that happens to like really let them know that they do belong in the house and you know that we really do love them, and then we continue on with some sort of like solving the situation. But part of it is we really apply this particular precept. And we do have a challenge, right? What we like to do is challenge. It's the precept. What do we call it?
The precept challenge. So like the challenge of the day is, so every day to use one of these and really practice it. So today's Love and Help Children Day, you know, so when you see someone else's child, you can actually just really admire them and say, oh my gosh, what a beautiful child. Just that simple thing can actually make the mother happier.
Or your own child.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but not everybody has children.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we were married for almost 10 years before we had children. Thank you, guys. So, all right, let me read this. So I'm reading this, but you can also get a free ebook. I'll have a link where you can get a free ebook and get it yourself. It's in English, or you can go to the Way to Happiness website, and it's like in, I don't know how many languages. It's a lot of languages.
177?
I thought it was 117.
117.
Over 100 languages. Yes. All right, so here we go. Today's children will become tomorrow's civilization. Really important. Bringing a child into the world today is a little bit like dropping one into a tiger's cage. Children can't handle their environment, and they have no real resources. They need love and help to make it. It is a delicate problem to discuss. There are almost as many theories on how to raise a child or not raise him as there are parents. Yet, if one does it wrong, much grief can result, and one may even complicate his or own later years. Some try to raise children the way they were themselves raised. Others attempt the exact opposite. Many hold to the idea that children should just be let grow on their own. None of these guarantee success. The last method is based on a materialistic idea that the development of the child parallels the evolutionary history of the race. That in some magical way, unexplained, the nerves of the child will ripen as he or she grows older, and the result will be a moral, well-behaving adult. Although the theory is disproven with ease, simply by noticing the large criminal population whose nerves somehow did not ripen, it is a lazy way to raise children and achieve some popularity. It doesn't take care of your civilization's future or your older years. A child is a little bit like a blank slate. If you write the wrong things on it, it will say the wrong things. But unlike a slate, a child can begin to do the writing. The child tends to write what has been written already. The problem is complicated by the fact that while most children are capable of great decency, a few are born insane, and today some are even born as drug addicts. But such cases are few. It does no good just to try to buy the child with an overwhelm of toys and possessions, or to smother and protect the child. The result can be pretty awful. One has to make up his mind what he is trying to get the child to become. This is modified by several things. A, what the child basically can become due to inherent makeup and potential. B, what the child really wants to become. And C, what one wants the child to become. And D, the resources available. But remember, whatever these all add up to, the child will not survive well unless he or she eventually becomes self-reliant and very moral. Otherwise, the end result, or the end product, is likely to be a liability to everyone, including the child. Whatever one's affection for the child, remember that the child cannot survive well in the long run if he or she does not have his or her feet put on the way to survival. It will be no accident if the child goes wrong. The contemporary society is tailor-made for a child's failure. It will help enormously if you obtain a child's understanding of and agreement to follow the precepts contained in this book. And what does have a workability is simply to try to be the child's friend. It is certainly true that a child needs friends. Try to find out what a child's problem really is, and without crushing their own solutions, try to help solve them. Observe them, and this applies even to babies. Listen to what children tell you about their lives. Let them help. If you don't, they become overwhelmed with a sense of obligation, which they then must repress, which is hold down. It will help the child enormously if you obtain understanding of and agreement to this way to happiness and get him or her to follow it. It could have an enormous effect on the child's survival and yours. A child factually does not do well without love. Most children have an abundance of it to return. The way to happiness has on its route the loving and the helping of children from babyhood to the brink of adulthood. So, look, I've always loved kids and have always done things to help children, and so has my wife. And when we had our own babies, it's not always easy. They have a mind of their own and they have a spirit of their own. But, it's been very helpful. Our boys are beautiful and healthy, and one just finished high school and one just finished college and has his first job. And we've helped them, go in the way, but we've helped them learn. And we've actually, there's videos that go with this, so you can watch videos, so it's easier than reading a book. But we've actually sat down with our boys to watch the videos on the 21 precepts, which is part of a common sense moral guide. It's not religious, it's really just common sense.
Yeah. And when our kids misbehaved, sometimes
they did.
they did. I would actually play this video, just put it in the TV and just let it run. Because eventually they would migrate and they'd pretend like they're watching it, but they're not really watching it. And they're kind of eyeing it. But then, I thought that they weren't listening to it. And the next day, my little guy who really gets very passionate about what he wants. And he came up to me and he's like, "I'm so sorry." He goes, "I was not way to happiness."
I was not way to. We actually had him watch Set a Good Example several times, because one of the precepts is set a good example. And you can see on your own that if more and more people set a good example, it would have a good impact on society. And setting a good example and really trying to set a good example helps. And when you teach your child, we expect them to set a good example, especially with two brothers. Oh my God. So.
Yeah, they definitely had their moments.
Yes. So anyway, we just wanted to share this. Love and help children is the precept for the day. And get your own copy. It's a free ebook copy. If you have to learn English, that's okay. You can go to the Way to Happiness website, which I'll post, and you can download your own language. You can go on YouTube, and I think there's many different languages, especially Russian and English. You can find the precepts and watch them. It's very interesting. So anyway, that's our precept for the day. We just want to spread happiness to all our friends around the world. Thank you for watching. You guys have a fantastic day.
Bye.
See you later. Thank you. See ya.